This week on NintenDomain, we talk about Nintendo's year in review, and we talk about our favorite games of the year as well.
And I'll give you a little bit more of my impressions of Mario Maker 3DS.
Yeah. Welcome to NintenDomain episode 49. We are
49?
49. We're almost to 50. Crazy.
So close.
We are your hosts.
Smell it.
I am Trey Johnson and
Jeremy Dumpster Fire 2016 Mikowski.
Dumpster Fire. Wow. Starting off with the flames. Why are you burning dumpsters?
I just think 2016 in a lot of ways was a dumpster fire. That's what the internet thinks too.
Yeah, a lot of people hate 2016. But, for games-wise, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it wasn't like the big Zelda having 2016 that we thought it would be like years ago.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk
It may not be a dumpster fire, but it's, it's kind of like it's scarce. There's a scarcity to it.
Well, we can talk about that later. But let's start off with news at the beginning. News for the week. Last week we forgot to talk about the Advance Wars 3DS, or Advance Wars DS on Virtual Console. Came out last week.
Dual Strike, right?
Dual Strike, yeah. That's the one that had the new art style where everybody looked all like more adult and stuff.
And I think it was important that they were still playing off the whole DS thing. Developer system, dual screen, dual strike.
Dual Strike. Dawn of Sorrow. I wish Dawn of Sorrow would be on there. It's not on there yet though. But this week had a couple surprises that I didn't know about. Also, the remake of the very first Fire Emblem on DS is on there. The Shadow Dragon.
Oh, so that's a remake of the first Fire
That's
Emblem.
a remake of the Famicom, Famicom Breath of Fire game, the first one. And Metroid Other M. That one was really surprised also. It kind of came out of nowhere. But, why not? All the other Metroid games are available digitally. This one might as well be available too.
Yeah, I guess it came out on the EU Virtual Console a long time ago, and the Japanese Virtual Console. Like, we're getting it way later than they did. But I'm still happy we're getting it. I've never played this game, so, this might be when I finally do it. Unless I have a copy of it cheaper.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is it going for nowadays?
I don't think it's a very hard game to get a hold of. Like, last time I almost bought it at GameStop and turned it down, it was like $5.
Yeah, I don't expect it going for a whole lot because I don't think anybody cares for it or really liked it. I thought it was okay. I mean, I played it through one time and enjoyed it for the most part. I mean, it was a little weird, like the control was a little weird, and it kind of had the same sort of thing from like Mario, Super Paper Mario, where you have to like turn the controller and point at the TV and all that. That was kind of strange. They had like a little first-person thing mixed in with it, plus 2.5D side-scrolling stuff. So it was a strange game in itself. And, that was the first game that they gave Samus a voice, and turned out that nobody wanted that voice that they gave her. So, and it was done
I'm looking at it on eBay right now. You can get it for around $8.
Yeah, I figured it wasn't worth $20. I still have my copy of it. And I would love to do a show about it at some point in the future. I think it'd be great. We still get people still download that episode that we did about Federation Force. So,
wow.
It's racking up the points. So crazy. I guess people still go to the Metroid stuff, I guess. I haven't really checked on the Super Metroid one we did, but I know that one did okay. The Federation Force one did.
I do remember a lot of people being disappointed with Other M. And I just never played it. Like, it looked like somebody else made a Metroid game, which is what it was, right?
Yes and no. I mean, it had the Team Ninja was on it doing the game.
So they were the Ninja Gaiden folks?
Yeah, but the guy who did it, like the director, was the same guy who did like Super Metroid. So it did have like, it had like the main guy on there. So, I mean, it was the same, it was a continuation of the stuff that they started in, Fusion, which we talked about in our Federation Force episode. The continuation of Adam and all that, and it shows the actual Adam because it does like the flashback and you see like young Samus and all that stuff. The game's kind of strange because it's like she doesn't, like she won't use, like instead of like her losing all of her weapons at the beginning of the game like most of the other ones, she has her weapons but she won't use them out of respect to this Adam person that she's visiting in the game. So that was kind of a thing that people didn't really like. It's like, oh, you can't get rid of this part because you won't use your missiles even though you have them. But you have to get to the point to where this guy says it's okay for you to use the missiles. Now you can use them, now you can go to the next part. So it's like...
So she was just waiting for, like, verbal confirmation it was okay to do it rather than...
Yeah.
It.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
It's weird, yeah. It's weird in that way. So I understand that. But it has like a good amount, like more cutscenes than any Metroid game had ever had before that, for sure. I mean, it was very much like, it's like all of a sudden it's like a Metal Gear game. Like it's, well, maybe not that bad, but closer, like a ton of cutscenes and a ton of like backstory and like Samus talks now and it's like, everybody's like, maybe she, would they kind of liked it when she didn't talk, but whatever. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it looked really good. It was like a very tail end Wii game, like came out towards the very end, I think, of the system. So I don't know. It's worth picking up. I mean, I guess it's selling for $8 is kind of like when I bought, last week I talked about how I got the, Kirby's Return to Dreamland for 50% off on the Wii shop for $9.99. And I saw that at GameStop selling for about $50. So I was pretty happy about getting that game. Online.
I just bought Metroid Other M, so it's getting shipped to me. I paid $8.88 for it with shipping.
Oh, cool! If you happen to finish it before the Switch comes out, we'll do a episode about that.
I did something similar with. I did get a hold of the second Boom Blocks game.
You should probably. I was going to say you should probably get yourself a nunchuck too while you're on.
I'm going to have to because I still haven't found it.
Yeah, well, you don't need a nunchuck. You actually don't need a nunchuck for Other M, but you should still have one for other games that use nunchucks. But real news. We have that was real news. The Virtual Console.
I thought it was real news.
No, it is.
And we didn't mention
real news.
The other stuff that came out this week. Like there's did we mention there's the? Oh, you did say the Fire Emblem game came out.
I did say Fire Emblem, but I didn't say the Demon's Crest.
Yeah, Demon's Crest.
It's the Capcom game, right?
Yeah, it's Capcom, and it's kind of a spiritual sequel to Ghosts and Goblins. But it's a sequel to Ghosts and Goblins, but it's one of the main enemies from Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah, but there's also a Game Boy.
Firebrand.
But there's a Game Boy game that came out before that, which
I actually had.
Yeah. There was a Game Boy straight up, like regular Game Boy black and white game, which I got because I thought it was cool because it's like a green gargoyle and like everything's green in the game because all Game Boy games are green. And when I was a kid, I thought that was cool. I was like,
oh you got it. You got
makes
it
sense.
Originally as a kid.
Oh no, yeah, I got it when I was a kid. I played as far as I could get through it, Gargoyle's Quest, but yeah, it was hard. But yeah, it is Firebrand. It's the character from, the spin-off of, Ghosts and Goblins, or Ghouls and
Supposedly
Ghosts,
finding a copy of this game is not as easy as what just happened with Metroid Other M. Like, you gotta drop $60 to $70 to get a copy of the Super Nintendo game.
Is the Game Boy game, like, as bad? Cause I still have that.
I'm not sure. I haven't researched it. But I do have it on my 3DS. It's one of the first games I downloaded when I got my first 3DS because I'd read a lot of good things about it. And, it was like, what, $2.99 or $3.99? Like, it was cheap.
Oh, yeah. It's not very expensive. Like, I just eBayed it real quick and it's $25. I guess that's kind of expensive for a Game Boy game, but yeah. But
for a Game Boy game, $25 is pretty expensive.
Yeah, Gargoyle's Quest. I remember getting it because I thought it looked cool because it's the guy's, he's green and he's green on the Game Boy. Back in the 80s when all we had was cream spinach Game Boys. I thought it was cool that it was actually the right color because he was actually green. I was like 10, whatever. It made sense to me at the time. But, yeah, it's cool. I haven't played it since then, but I had a lot of fun with it when I was a kid. I don't think I ever beat it, but I thought it was pretty hard.
Did you get it on the 3DS, or you probably didn't because you already have it?
No, I did not get it on the 3DS because I played it as much as I could as a young.
We get those save states,
Yeah, I might get it. I mean, I thought about it because I remembered, but I'm like, but I still got my cartridge, man. I can play it on the TV. I can play it on the TV through my
Super Game Boy.
Yeah, well, through my Game Boy player on the GameCube. Played on that. Yeah, on the old TV, on the new old TV. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that Demon's Crest, I actually played that game a little bit, like through an emulator when I was in college, like when we were in college together still. And that one's hard too. But it looks good. It looks really cool. Like I remember the beginning of the game starts off with this big boss. Like there's a big boss at the very beginning, which is pretty awesome. And getting through that was difficult in itself, but
yeah, I'm thinking about grabbing it.
It looks really good.
It came out the same year as Super Metroid, so it's got sort of that year kind of look to it, It was like, they were starting to get there. They were starting to figure out what they could do with the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it looks good. It looks very good. It has remember it has like kind of the mist stuff, like in the different levels and all that. So it looks cool. I mean, yeah, so, I thought about getting
and also with that pixel perfect mode and all that shit. Like,
yeah, I thought about getting it.
It's probably going to be my next Super Nintendo download for the new 3DS.
Yeah, if it'll be, if I get that one, it'll add to my Capcom collection, which I talked about before. Because when I dove into the Pixel Perfect, I got 3 Capcom games, so that'll be my 4th Capcom game on the Pixel Perfect 3DS.
But they do look fantastic. These Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, I thought about getting that one, so I might. We'll see. But
so I think overall a pretty good week in the Virtual Console. If nothing else, a week of a lot of people probably haven't played these games that were dropped this week.
It's nice to see Other M on there. It proves that Nintendo doesn't completely not think about Metroid.
Right.
Now that they've released everything officially on there in some capacity digitally. So, yeah.
They really have, haven't they?
Yeah. There's no one that's not available.
You can get all the Metroids on between the Wii U and the 3DS. You can get them all.
Yeah. I think the only one that's not on there. Well, you'd have to get Metroid 2 on the 3DS, but any of the other ones you can get on the Wii U. So, even the Metroid Prime collection's on there. That was the first thing they dropped, so that's cool.
Which is still kind of annoying to see people on websites and stuff saying, when are they going to release, I can't wait for the GameCube functionality to happen. Because I want to play the Metroid Prime games. It's you can already do that on the Wii U. They're already out.
But I want to play with the GameCube controller. Speaking of that was something that supposedly Eurogamer dropped some sort of hint saying that they knew about a GameCube Virtual Console.
I mean, is that surprising at all? That's the only thing they haven't tapped yet.
Yeah. Well, I told you, we've talked about this before on the show, but the reason that they haven't tapped it is because they don't have the proper controller for it.
The analog trigger.
Because they need the analog triggers. Well, especially for Super Mario Sunshine, because the analog and clicking it all the way down do different things. So you would have to map that to another button or something, which makes, emulation hard if you don't have the right controller. So they're going to have some sort of GameCube snap-on to the Switch, or they're going to have analog triggers already on the Switch, one or the other.
Well, I mean, it's the only Mario game it's the only one they haven't revisited that's classic, so to speak. So they're going to bring. I would bet money that Mario Sunshine is going to be on the Switch because, they haven't done it yet. And
I told you that's
long overdue.
Yeah, that's why they haven't done it, I think, though, is because it's triggers. Because how the analog triggers were part of that game, But we'll see. I hope for it, but yeah, it's all a matter of time. If they come out and say
all kinds of cool GameCube stuff that could come out, I think it was mentioned, Smash Brothers Melee and other games.
Yeah, Smash Brothers and all those other games. Well, yeah, there's plenty of games that could, Beautiful Joe 1 and 2 would be great to see on there. Killer 7, there's a lot. I love GameCube. There's a ton of games. I know a lot of them are probably licensed and you can't put them on there, but
bring back the Monkey Ball games, the classic ones.
Yeah, Monkey Ball 1 and 2 would be great. Even put fucking Sonic Adventure on there. There's there's those, the Dreamcast ports that were on there.
Dreamcast. That's something that would be amazing if they just started porting a bunch of Dreamcast games.
Well, they had Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 from Dreamcast were on GameCube. They were early GameCube releases. So they could have a little Dreamcast in there. But yeah, it would be cool to do Dreamcast. But it would be
get some Power Stone.
Same thing you could do Skies of Arcadia. That's a Dreamcast game that was ported to GameCube,
I think people would flip their shit if Skies of Arcadia came out as a downloadable title.
Yeah, I know I would. That's a fun game. Or Eternal Darkness, they could do that on there, maybe. If those guys I know those guys are all not around anymore, I don't think, the Silicon Knights, but they could still find a way to do it. Or Twin Snakes, that'd be cool too, if they could put that on there.
Didn't they try to crowdfund a sequel to Eternal Darkness?
They did, yeah. They did try to crowdfund it, but I think it was some sort of weird episodic type thing. I don't know, it sounded complicated from what I heard about it, not exactly what I would want from it, but who knows. They could do a Virtual Console Beyond Good and Evil, right? Since everybody keeps
Eternal
talking about
Darkness
2 being on there.
Episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of GameCube games they could put on there. They just need to get the controller right. And, of course, all those Resident Evils, you could put those on there.
The original Luigi's Mansion.
Original Luigi's Mansion, yeah. So, here's hoping for it.
Yeah.
But, aside from that, there was, Nintendo was on Jimmy Fallon. Oh, I was gonna say
Jim.
I was gonna say at the beginning of the episode, I forgot to, for some reason I was messed up and I thought that, Super Mario Run was coming out today, and it turns out it's coming out next week, so we told you we were gonna do a Super Mario Run episode, which we'll still do. We'll do it next week. And I didn't have enough time to break into an Apple store and steal like their demo version of it to play it for the show and all that, so sorry. Cause I guess apparently you can play it at Apple stores now, and I didn't make it over there today.
Yeah, starting
today. Yeah. What I thought with the Jimmy Fallon thing, that's like kind of like solidified my, thoughts on, it coming out today, cause I was like, oh, well, if it was on Jimmy Fallon, then they should be like, that's a brilliant idea. Like they'll show it that night and then it'll come out the next day. That's what I expected. Like it remind everybody about it. And it's like, oh yeah, and this comes out in a couple hours. Like that'd be a really cool way to do it, but I guess you gotta wait a week for it, but I don't know. It seemed like the right way to do it, but they didn't do it that way. But anyway, they were still on there. Jimmy Fallon played Switch and all that. We got to look at it a little up close. Saw somebody actually playing it.
And it was actually the first time that Zelda Breath of the Wild was shown playing on the Switch. So a lot of people are trying to surmount from whatever. They're trying to figure out from this footage, like the frame rates and all this other shit.
Yeah.
Versus the Wii U. Like people are already kind of like pulling up charts and stuff and being like, well, it obviously runs quicker on the Switch. You can see it running smoother here than the Wii U version they were playing at.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think you can tell that through an internet video. Like,
no, you can't. Well, and
you can't properly evaluate like video output on hardware through another video capturing it.
Well, they also like if you watch like what they showed like on the big screen there, all they did was show Reggie like turning the camera around Link really, really, really slowly. Like there was nothing fast about it that I saw. So it's like, can't really tell.
Supposedly the draw distance was better.
I guess. I don't know. I couldn't really see anything. I mean, I saw the same stuff I saw on the other one. I saw that same like mountain, the same like Death Mountain, like that's still in there. It looks the same to me. But who knows? It's hard to tell on there.
But needless to say, it was a pleasant surprise that they, because we all were pretty sure that, Nintendo always sticks to their guns, and they said no more news about the Switch until is it January 10th? Until
I think it's the 12th.
The 12th, okay, whatever it is. In January, they're going to do a presentation about the Switch. So we were not expecting to see anything else about the Switch. So it was a pleasant surprise. They did throw us a little curveball and say, "Oh, here you go. You're going to play some Switch right up here, and everyone's going to see this like boy man." Freaking out about it.
Yeah. The whole time he's like, I'm such a nerd. I'm so freaked out. I'm like,
oh my god, I'm just geeking out so hard.
Yeah, he's like, I'm geeking out. This is crazy. I'm like, yeah, I get it, dude. Like, you don't have to say like you're geeking out, but whatever. It's cool. It's the Switch. You get to actually see it do its Switch. So,
I think maybe like if he would have been a little more like, yeah, cool, let me play that. Like maybe people would have been pissed off,
Yeah,
because
no,
they're like
it's fine.
Jealous.
Yeah,
so it's kind of nice that he was just kind of like, oh my god, I don't feel like I'm worthy to be playing this right now. Like, why do I get to do this? Why am I the one? I think he played his cards well in that regard.
Yeah, I'm not hating on him for being being excited about the Switch. That's cool. He could be. I'm not really a fan of Jimmy Fallon, but I know.
No, I don't think a lot of people are.
I know in the past he has done a lot of video game stuff. Like he has done a lot of stuff in Nintendo also. Like, Donkey Kong Country's Returns, I remember they had something about that, like way back when that came out. So they've been on the show before.
And he's
so
done
it's
a
not
lot
really,
of stuff with Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, he's done,
released in
he's done stuff with
countries.
developers and game stuff. So that's cool, But, we actually saw it switch. Do you think that, what I was thinking about when I watched it is like, do you think that's what it shows on the TV when you take the Switch out? It shows like that picture of the Switch that says Nintendo Switch, like in red. Did you see that?
Hope
like
so.
where they, wouldn't that be
because
fun?
I always like to know what game system I'm playing. Like I forget sometimes while I'm playing it. I'd like it if my TV just told me.
Yeah, and it makes it so like you can't use that. Like if you have one of those hot swap HDMI things like I do, where like it'll switch between, like you can plug like 3 different things into one thing and it'll switch from one to another depending on what the signal's going through. But the Switch would make it to where you can't change it because it's always sending that picture to the TV. So it'll never switch to whatever other system you want to play or whatever cable you want to watch.
Yeah, I've got 2 HDMI ports on my TV that I use in my office. So,
yeah.
I don't swap too much. But the one in my living room's got 3, so it's never even been a problem. I've never had enough HDMI devices that I needed.
I have 2 on mine also, but I have I mean, out here in the living room, there's like
The PS4.
5 different things that use HDMI's.
PS3, the Wii U.
Yeah, there's the Wii U, the PS3, the PS4, the computer, and a HDMI DVD player also that I all use. I'll use HDMI. So, but yeah, it's cool. We get to see it work. Like I've seen people more like analyzing like what they saw on the machine. They're being like, oh, here's the fan here. This button does this, like. Whatever.
I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point that like it's a high tech piece of hardware in the sense that this isn't a game system you're going to want an 8-year-old to take to school with them. You know, like it's got like vents on the top of it and stuff. You know, it's not something that you really want your kids carrying around with them everywhere. I don't think. Yeah,
it has like the exposed screen too, like no clamshell.
Yeah, so it's a novel concept, but it's geared more at. You know, as far as being a portable thing, it's geared more at those of us that are a little older and take a little better care of our devices. Yeah. You know, it's like an iPad or some shit. You know, maybe kids will be given an iPad.
Which kids
they're
have.
Gonna break the shit out of it. Yeah.
Well, they're just gonna get, you know, they're gonna make those ugly, like, you know, ugly styrofoam looking cases to put around it, and you know.
Well, I don't know how well that's gonna work with like the vents, because there's definitely vent holes on it.
Yeah. Well, they'll just have to have a hole on the, you know, like those weird Nerf holders that they have for the Wii U remotes. Like you have to get something like that.
Near as I can tell though, the Wii U remote doesn't have, like, it's not processing anything in a heavy sense, so it doesn't need ventilation.
Well, it doesn't have a vent, but all you would need to do is just put a foam thing on it and just cut a hole around the vent, and then it's still going to vent.
Yeah.
You know, but if you drop it, it won't break, hopefully.
But if kids, like, you know, their Ziploc bags full of Cheerios spill into the vent, it's going to overheat.
Yeah. Or their bags filled with pasta or whatever else they have.
Or their Fun Dip's gonna fall into it. Like
Fun Dip would be awful. Yeah, it's like sand, pretty much. It destroys everything.
But I mean, I'm still really impressed with it, and it looked like, you know, the experience was pretty seamless. And if it's true that, like Reggie was saying, that was the consumer model. I mean, Fallon at one point flipped it over. He's like, "There should be a kickstand right here," and there was, you know.
Yeah, that was cool too. Like he's like, obviously you watch the video. He's like, "Oh, here's the kickstand," you know.
And he didn't take the controllers off, but he almost tried to.
And he puts it down. He's like, "Oh, there's like three systems here. This is so cool. You know, everybody should get this." So he's totally like fighting for the good team here, or trying to help Nintendo out or whatever. I've seen a lot of because they showed him playing the Mario Run and all that. But I've seen a lot of like memes of Miyamoto with his thumb down now. I'm sure you've seen that too.
Oh, right.
Like when he rated him in the audience. And Bill Trinan was there too, sitting next to him, but he didn't.
Bill was surprisingly silent. But according to Bill Trinan's Twitter, Fallon did ask him about Karen.
Yeah, I was like, where's Karen at? She should have showed up. That would have been even funnier.
Karen's been strangely silent. I mean, of all the actors in that video, you know, there was the one guy that did the thing with Game Explain where he did a big old interview.
Yeah, because he wrote a thing. He wrote on the dry race or whatever.
But
we talked
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Yeah, we did. We talked about it a lot. But I'm surprised Karen hasn't come forward and done something yet. Like
she's probably like
she's got her own
about it or something.
Following, right? And it is a kind of a like an ironic sort of thing. Like maybe she is not actually flattered by it because she's been sort of stereotyped by her by the role she played in the video.
Yeah, I thought maybe, maybe she was kind of embarrassed by it. I don't know.
Maybe she's resting on her laurels and she's gonna pop up when the Switch debuts and Karen's gonna be selling it to everyone.
Well, just wait. I mean,
Let's Play.
It's gonna be one of the first Switch games. It's gonna be called like Karen Switch. Just a whole game about her and her rooftop friends.
Karen's rooftop party.
Yeah, Karen's rooftop party.
How to be a gamer and attend rooftop parties simultaneously by Karen.
Yeah, it's just a series of you taking the Switch and making it to the party before the batteries die or whatever. Sounds like a horrible game, but yeah, maybe we'll see more of
Bill Trinan just kind of looked like, when I saw him sit next to Miyamoto, he just kind of looked like he was looking around trying to find some donuts to eat.
Oh, do you think he still has the yokai watch in him?
I don't think that ever left.
Maybe not.
But it was cool that Miyamoto got to play with the roots. I wasn't really sure what he was actually doing. He was playing an acoustic guitar, and obviously he was playing the chords and stuff, but I didn't really hear an acoustic guitar. Oh, I
didn't catch him playing the guitar.
He played, he and the Roots played like the Super Mario Brothers theme, and they even kind of like jazz it up a little bit where they like played a few parts over and over again, and like.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's just sitting there just like playing his acoustic, and you can't, like, in the midst of all that stuff happening with that band. You don't really hear the acoustic at all, but he's obviously enjoying himself and having his own little fan moment, maybe in that sense that, yeah, I'm just hanging out on this, popular American talk show playing guitar. I'm not just a game guy. I play guitar.
Yeah. Well, there was already, speaking of kind of what I was talking about for the protective case of the Switch, did you see that there was a Switch, there's like a Switch carrying case that showed up at the EB Games in Australia?
No.
Somebody saw, there's already the first official accessory that showed up on EB Games website. So it shows the Switch in this carrying case, like with slots for the cartridges.
Does EB Games exist anywhere besides Australia at this point?
Well, EB Games is part of GameStop. Like GameStop
right, but
all
there's no
stuff.
EB Games here anymore. Like, it's completely, like, there was Funkoland and EB
and Babbage's.
And Babbage's, and they all got sucked up by.
They all became GameStop pretty much. Even though I think there might be EB Games still
because I actually
in the Peoria Mall.
Funkoland. I actually worked at a Funkoland for a little while when I lived up in Crown Point, Indiana, back in 2001, 2002.
I thought that was a straight up GameStop though that you worked at.
No, it was Funkoland, man.
Okay, and that was like
before it was absorbed by GameStop.
Yeah, that was like 2002, I think. No, or was it 2003? Like whenever you lived up there, like
it would have been 2002.
Okay, there wasn't one because you were still at the camp.
Yeah, like fall of 2001 or spring of 2002. But anyway, needless to say, I did work for.
You did. I remember that.
And only for a couple of months, and it was like it was a seasonal job just to help out over the holidays. The influx of people buying games, and then all the people like calling in with questions about games.
Didn't you mostly? I think you told me that mostly you put stickers on games while you were there.
Mostly I alphabetized games, and they were because I was in there all the time hanging out. Like they knew I wanted to like answer the phones and answer video game questions, and they'd let me like. I answered the question of like, so someone actually called in and was like, what do I do with this guy that's saying grumble grumble? And I'm like, am I really like the game counselor right now? And I was like, feed him the meat.
Oh, which guy? Which game? What Zelda game was that?
The first Zelda game, I can't remember which castle that is.
Somebody called you and asked you about Zelda 1 NES?
Yeah.
At GameStop? At
yes.
Funkoland? Wow.
Yes.
Well, were they still, that was when they were still selling all the games, right?
Yeah, they still had NES games.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard about Funkoland in high school, it was like this magical place we had heard of. We're like, yeah, this place that like sells like every game that was ever made. Like they still have. And actually, that was where I told you the first time I went to Funkoland, I bought Metal Storm on NES. That was like the game that I bought when I went there. Because that was the game that I wanted to buy and couldn't find anywhere. And I went and got it there, the first time I went there. So it's pretty rad. For me, that was my first Funkoland experience. Because there was like one that was by Chicago that I went to because I grew up in central Illinois. There wasn't any down there, but I remember driving up there with my high school friends, and it was like, yeah, Metal Storm, found it there.
But anyway, back to what you were saying about EB in Australia. Now, wasn't that sort of one of the first sources where they were like, okay, I think there's a USB Type-C plug on this? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, there's a. Yeah. I mean, I think. They say it in there. They say that they said something about the USB-C plug that can supposedly make the graphics look better when it's docked.
Right, supposedly. Well, the USB Type-C is like same as like the HDMI in the sense that a lot of things can transfer through it really quick. A lot of signals, not just like video or audio, can be everything at once.
Yeah,
and it's just a really high bandwidth connection, and it's not on a lot of consumer products even now. Like Apple tried to like make it ubiquitous and make it like I think their last round of MacBooks before this recent one, it only had the one USB Type-C plug, and everybody was flipping out because there's just one plug on the whole laptop. Now they've got more plugs, but that's the whole thing now is like, what is Apple becoming a peripheral or a dongle manufacturer rather than just like a primary hardware because you have to have all these adapters to use shit now, but
oh yeah.
Still, back to the USB Type-C. That wasn't just an Apple thing. I mean, like a lot of Windows laptops and Windows PCs and stuff, which my new computer I bought, I think it has a USB Type-C plug on it. I have not used it yet. I mean, it's there, but I'm just using standard USB ports still for all my shit.
Sure.
Because it's a special kind of connection. Like, it has to be something that's compatible with that to even use it. So it's not even something I've fucked with yet. But it does kind of, what I've read and speculations and stuff I've read about the Switch, that the dock may not actually boost the power of the gamepad, or whatever you want to call it, the Switch pad directly, but if it does have a USB Type-C on it, then it does increase the rate of transfer of information to the TV and everything that's happening. So in effect, it does boost the performance, but just because of the interface, not because it's like processing extra stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, basically what I saw there's a separate rumor thing that I saw aside from the accessory. Basically what they were, here, I wanted to read the quote really quick. Basically what they're saying is the USB-C, basically when the system is connected to the USB-C, the system's components will run at a higher clock speed to facilitate 1080p resolutions on the TV. Both video and power will be transferred over USB-C when docked. Plugging the system into the dock will also activate an additional fan to help cooling when run at that higher clock speed. So like the fan is they say that there's a fan also in that. But I mean, that's what the quote was from Let's Play Video Games that said, yeah, run at a higher clock speed. The fan is in the near rear of the dock, and there's a gap in the back of the dock to allow the system's inbuilt fans to vent when docked. So like that's supposedly how it will run faster or whatever, and output a higher resolution is what they were saying. Which makes sense because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be 1080p on the actual handheld. I doubt that. It's going to be at lower resolution on the actual screen that you have in your hands, and then when you plug it in, it'll look better. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Well, it makes sense to me too, because whatever's happening on your TV is going to be based on what your TV can handle, and then you're going to have whatever the native resolution of the game. I still want to call it the gamepad. We should call it something else, probably the Switch pad or whatever. But
the Switch pad, yeah.
Because the gamepad's what we call the Wii U thing. But I mean, essentially, it's the same fucking thing, and you're limited by.
For now, you can remove the sides. Yeah.
Right. You're limited by the screen, whatever the native resolution in that is, which most people seem to think it's 720.
Yeah.
And for a screen that size, that's perfectly acceptable. Like you don't need.
Yeah. You don't
a
need
much higher resolution for something, even though it's big in terms of like a portable consumer electronics device. It's still a small screen. It doesn't need to be like crazy high resolution.
For sure.
So if it upscales it based on your TV and it does that through the dock, then that makes sense. There would be some processing happening there, but a lot of it would be happening, like you said, through the USB-C connection and possibly the implementation of more fans so that the thing could be overclocked and run at a higher resolution or run at a higher performance than it can when you're like carrying it around with you and running off battery power.
Did you see that Reggie said that Super Mario Run won't be out for Switch? That doesn't surprise me, but
no, I did see that.
It
actually does surprise me because a lot of the early rumors about the new Nintendo back when it was still called the NX was that it was like a hybrid of whatever the portable games or whatever the mobile games were going to be and new console games. Like it was going to be everything.
Well,
so I am actually surprised by that it's not an option.
Well, that also adds to my prediction after the Switch.
Because I thought Miitomo would be for it too.
Yeah. Well, that adds to my prediction saying that the screen isn't a touchscreen, which there's rumors saying that it is, but what if it isn't? You know, I mean, Oh,
you think it's not?
I thought for a while that it wasn't going to be, yeah. Well, just because you can't use it. Like when you're docking it, you can't use it unless like that weird plastic slab thing that you put in the middle there is somehow a touchscreen. Otherwise, it's like, what's the point? Like, why would you use it? You know, you'd only be able to use it in certain situations when you have the thing out of the dock. So that basically makes any game that uses that only handheld and not on the TV. And I think that's that's like counterintuitive there, like to what they're trying to do. So that kind of makes sense.
So why even have it be a touchscreen if it can't be played as a dual screen experience?
And also like Jimmy Fallon, when he was holding the Switch, he did not touch the screen at all. So I don't know. I'm sure that's a thing. Maybe it is like, cause people
if you look when Reggie hands it off to him, you can see a smudge on the screen where he touched the screen.
Oh, sure.
You can see the studio lights.
Well, I'm sure somebody touched the screen I'm sure somebody touched the screen by accident, but that doesn't mean that there's an actual touchscreen on there. I don't know. I'm not saying that there is or there isn't.
And it's shaped like the smudge on the screen is shaped just like on the Android when you have to do like the thing with the dots
Oh.
It's like a design. No, it's not. It's just like it's just a smudge.
Yeah, you can see his, he put his, password in there. It's 9, and that's it. Just one.
It's shaped like the Seattle Mariners logo.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, and I saw like, analysis on it being like, oh, there's no stylus. Obviously, there's no place for stylus on there. So.
Cause you can use any pencil as a stylus on it.
Yeah. Cause they want you to use knives now, so you can.
It reacts to number 2 lead. The screen.
Yeah, right.
And you can erase it with an actual eraser. It's great.
It's like a piece of paper. You just put a paper on there and write on it and then erase it. That's all you need.
Yeah, I don't know. I would not be surprised if there wasn't a touch screen, but by the same token, like maybe just purely for the interface of it while it's portable, it would make sense for there to be a touch screen, just because that's what people are used to nowadays. Like,
sure, everything
that has a screen is a touch screen. Like, it's hard to even buy a laptop now that doesn't have a touch screen,
unless you buy like the new Apple book or whatever that has the touch bar and has a touch screen. But yeah, I understand what you're talking about.
You hand a laptop to an 8-year-old kid and they're going to try to touch the screen.
Well, yeah,
that's what they've known their whole lives.
They grew up on that. For sure. I remember last week I said that I was going to go on, I already did my Black Friday stuff, but the week after Black Friday, when the Mario 3DS came out and all that, I was going to go looking for NES classics. And, I didn't see any, but you heard the rumor of, which wasn't a rumor, but, that Toys R Us restocked their shelves on, Sunday.
Which they did.
With new NES classics, which I went to, and, some crazy shit happened over there while I was there, so I got another Toys R Us story for you. So I, did the whole, went to Toys R Us on Sunday. I, made the dumb decision, thinking that maybe I was the only one that knew about it, of course, and then I'll just walk in there and there might be a couple and there'll be nobody there, which is like you always think it's never what's going to happen. But it turns out that like it wasn't just the NES classics that got a restock.
Hatchimals.
Yeah, these fucking Hatchimal things,
yep.
Which I had never heard of before. There was like 100, like there had to have been like 200 people there in line waiting for these stupid fucking Hatchimal things. Which I was like, oh cool, so nobody's there to get an NES classic. It's just the Hatchimals. But I was like way back. I mean, the line was long. It was like way longer than it was like when the NES classic came out. Cause I went over there to Toys R Us to check it out and there were like maybe 6 people in line. And they're like, yeah, we already got tickets. There's nothing, there's only like 6. And I'm like, okay. Which I wondered, I was like, did they make that up to tell me that just so that nobody would get in line? But I didn't care. I already got an NES Classic from Target, so I didn't really care much. But this one, I was like, I'll just wait it out, I guess, and see if anything happens. I got there at like 8:30, or I got there at like 7:30. They open at 8 on Sunday morning, so I'm standing next to this weird guy that like keeps talking about Hatchimals and how he has to get them for his like nieces or whatever. His story gets more interesting later. But basically, so yeah, we're all standing in line talking about Hatchimals, and I was talking about NES Classics because I thought everybody was there for NES Classics. I didn't know about these fucking egg things or whatever that they had. And I'm like, they only released like 6 of these, like when it came out, and everybody's like looking at me weird. I was like, yeah, like we're probably not going to get one, but we'll wait in line. And, so I waited in line. And we walked in, and apparently I didn't see this, but apparently people were talking about it when we were in the store. Apparently somebody like rushed the line, like when they opened the doors. And, when the guy was about to hand out tickets, he got like attacked by these guys, by a group of guys that like basically ran at the front of the line. So he like kind of like threw the tickets in the air. So like the whole there's this whole argument about like who should have tickets or not, because I guess some of the people who waited in the very front of the line didn't get them. Because these guys like attacked the front of the line and like stole and took these tickets. So there was this whole like argument inside the store about this. Like while like there was like no line, like they just let people in the store. It wasn't like Target. It wasn't like Target where they like, kind of like route you around in line and like and you send you like right to a box that has it. They basically went straight to the electronics department, which had like, I don't know, maybe 10 boxes of Hatchimals like on the ground and like 10 boxes of NES Classics just sitting there. And they're like, you don't get one if you don't have a ticket. And there's like this big crowd of people like all around this middle area where they have the boxes. And people are saying like, well, I was ahead of this guy, and this guy stole my line because he rushed the line. Like, all this shit going on, which I didn't see. So everybody arguing about that. And they ended up, like, selling them to whoever had a ticket, I guess, regardless of who rushed the line or not. I don't know. If I was the guys there, I would have been like, I know, you're the one who rushed the line. You don't get one, is what I would have said. But whatever. They sold it to whoever had a ticket. And then there was, like, it was kind of like, I was waiting. There was one NES left. They couldn't find anybody with a ticket. So they ended up selling it to whoever was in the front of the line eventually, but there were still like 3 Hatchimals left after that. And I guess they were going to start doing like a raffle or something like that. But that kid that I stood next to, he kept like yelling. He was like yelling at the Toys R Us people. He's like, if I don't get one, I'm going to go to the customer service and tell them about it. And I'm like, dude, you were in the back of the line with me. Like, even, cause he's like blaming like the people rushed the line and all that. And I'm like, dude, even if people didn't rush the line, you still wouldn't have got one. Like, there was only like 10 of them, and we were like fucking like 100 people back, dude. Like, settle down. And he's like, oh no, they're gonna hear it. They're gonna hear it from me and the customer service. He's like, I'm gonna find out they're gonna order one for me. And I'm like, dude, this isn't their fault. Like, they only get so much. Like, call the fucking Hatchimal people and tell them they're stupid for not releasing enough or something like that. But he like had like $100 bill, and he was like trying to like outbid the people there. He's like, I got $100. I'll give you $100 right now for that. You can keep like the rest of it. It's like $70, And I was like, all right, you're a total asshole. So like, I like, part of me wanted me to stick around just to make sure that he didn't get one, It's just to be like, just to stick around and make sure, because there were like 2 left, and everybody's yelling at each other. And at one point he stole an NES ticket, an NES Classic ticket from somebody, and tried to trade it with a Hatchimal for somebody. And the dude came up to him and he's like, dude, why did you steal that from me? And then he like gave it back to him. But it was like, it was like a madhouse in there. So like, after
that's the way this shit is, man. And it's been like that since like the 80s, like back in Teddy Ruxpin days.
Yeah. So pretty much
doing this crazy shit.
Yeah. I felt like I was in fucking, Jingle All the Way with fucking, Jake Lloyd and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and we're trying to find that stupid giant superhero toy or whatever, like, it was awful. And like, after this awful Toys R Us experience, I'm like, man, fuck that. Like, sorry family, you guys get other stuff. I'm tired of looking for NES Classics. That's how I felt after that. I was like, I'll go buy like a board game or something. Like, they get something else nice, like, I don't know. After that experience, it kind of agitated me, and I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this.
You could always get them one later when they're well, like, I actually found out I live in a duplex, and my neighbor, I've only talked to him a couple of times because we have like opposing schedules, but he came into my job the other day. I work at a restaurant, and he was speaking with me, and he told me that he collects Lego. I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. He's like, but he's like serious. He collects Lego, like hardcore. Like, he's been collecting sets since like the late 80s or something. And so he's got a really good friend that works at the Toys R Us here in town. So he was telling me about how he went in to like meet up with his friend last week or something to like go out and get lunch or something, and his friend's a manager. His friend's just like, hey, come into my office. And he went into the office, and there was literally like a stack of NES Classics and a stack of the Hatchimals. Like, he's just wow. Yeah, these are the things people are going to be freaking out about on Sunday. Like, they're coming here to try to get these, and you can look at them. Like, isn't that crazy? You can just look at them right now. You can have them, but you can look at them. And it's like, I need to become better friends with my neighbor because maybe I can like become friends with this Toys R Us guy. But it doesn't sound like you get any special privileges.
Apparently you don't, yeah.
You don't. Like, you still have to like go through you still have to, I don't know, maybe you're even less privileged. You can't get a hold of these hot ticket items. But yeah, I didn't know anything about Hatchimals until they told me about that. I came home that night and I was like, all right, I'm going to find out what the fuck a Hatchimal is. Have you looked up a Hatchimal to find out what it is?
Have I looked at it?
Yeah.
No, I just watched, I just heard
I looked up a video on YouTube, and I found the top video on YouTube for the Hatchimals had like 5 or 6 million views. And it's this lady that's talking like she's a nanny. Like, I don't know how I better describe it. She's just got this kitty cuckoo voice. Oh my god. And like she's talking to babies, and the video has all these views. It's just her. She got a hold of a Hatchimal, and she's watching it hatch. Yeah. And like, she can't fucking wait on the fucking thing to hatch. It actually like hatches. It busts open the egg, and you just have to sit there and wait for it to hatch. And like, she didn't have the patience to wait for it to hatch, and she started breaking it apart. Well, turns out this toy was built specifically to try to teach kids patience. So it's hilarious to see this adult doing a YouTube video of it and not having any patience with it. Like, she could have jump cut.
Yeah.
She could have done all kinds of cool stuff with the power of video editing, but instead, this bitch can't even fucking handle, like, waiting on the... I'm sorry, she may not actually be a bitch, but, you know, let's just say that she's a bitch, because she didn't have any patience. And she starts busting at this egg and helping this baby animal out, and I'm like, God damn, like, this is a kid's toy, and, like, an adult can't even handle it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, there's always those hot toys, like, you know, we know those stories. Like, I mentioned the Teddy Ruxpin, but you can find like hilarious like Dr. Demento songs from back in the 80s that are about that whole experience of like trying to get a hold of a Teddy Ruxpin. And then one song in particular I remember, like, they get a hold of the Teddy Ruxpin and they have it at home, and then it turns out like kind of like a Chucky doll in the sense that it like takes over their house and like whatever it tells you to do and stuff. And like what have been the hot items, like Cabbage Patch Kids and like Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you remember what the one with the 64 was? It was Tickle Me Elmo. Nintendo 64 and Tickle Me Elmo, where was that Christmas. I remember that. One thing I forgot to mention about the story was there was a lady walking up and down the aisle saying like I got walking up and down the line. She's like, I got Hatchimals in my car. I'll sell you one for $150.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, like
that's classic scalping.
Yeah, over twice the price. She's like, you want one now? I got one now. And I was like, and I made a comment. I was like, shouldn't she be doing that to people when they're leaving the store? Like, for the ones who aren't going to get it, like all of us, you know, like, is she going to do that? Like,
she'll do it twice.
Wait for people leaving and be like, hey, man, come over here. I got some.
She'll do it once to get people
hidden my trunk over
line,
here. Yeah.
And then she'll do it again and mark up the price for the people that are disappointed. Like, oh, I got Hatchimals for $250.
Yeah. I was tempted to be like, hey, you got any NES classics? I'm not buying one for $150, but you got one?
I will say that the price has steadily gone down. If you've been paying attention, like, the price has gone down secondhand.
Oh, another thing.
They're no longer like $300. You can get one for like $175.
Yeah, it's still dumb though. For like a $60.
It's still
three times
markup,
what it's worth. Yeah,
but you're not. The markup's not the same. So if nothing else, that reveals that, you know, the market's becoming more and more saturated. And so, you know, pre-Christmas we may not be able to get a hold of more, but I'm already determined to get my family other gifts, just like you.
Yeah, I've kind of given up. But Amazon,
I mean, it's either that or give up the one I got, which
yeah, I'm not going to give up that one. I have too many. I have too many Final Fantasy 1 saves on there.
Same here, man.
and I'm too determined to get through that game. But Amazon, did you see that Amazon put a Twitter thing up saying that they're going to reveal something this week about NES Classics?
Yeah,
so
it's annoying as fuck too.
Yeah, they haven't said it yet though, right? I've said what it is.
They did say what it was.
What was it?
They've got like Amazon bookstores in some cities.
Oh, you can
you can buy NES Classics there too. So basically they just revealed like a new outlet where you can buy them, but it's a new retail outlet. It's not that they're stocking the website.
Oh, okay. Did you?
So extremely disappointing because we do not have Amazon books anywhere around us.
Oh, sure. Did you check Urban Outfitters? Apparently they're carrying them now too.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, I guess you can only buy it online though. Because I was going to go, because there's actually an Urban Outfitters down the street from me. Well, I mean, it's a ways down the street, but it's in Wicker Park. It's the next neighborhood over. But I thought about going over there and looking, but apparently they're only online. They're not actually in the store. So
yeah, we've got one of those in town, and like, fuck that, I'm not going there.
Yeah,
I'm not going to that place. It's on campus, and I'm not going anywhere near that fucking place.
Yeah. Well, I've been in one before. I went in one time with a coworker. We had some time to kill on a shoot we were doing. And they have a bunch of weird random retro stuff in there, and I think I saw an old NES in there when I went in there, so it doesn't really surprise me that they would carry them there. But
they sell record players and all kinds of other dumb shit there. Like that's that's like sort of cool but still kind of shitty. Like, you know, you can buy a record player at Urban Outfitters, but it's not going to be
probably not very good. Yeah.
No, it's not. And I don't know. And you can buy a bunch of shitty clothes while you're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of that place, if you can't tell. But
I like some pornography in the form of advertisements.
It makes sense they would sell the NES Classic there because it's a trendy place.
Sure.
It's trying to be a trendy place. It's a lot like Hot Topic, man. It's just like a newer version of it appealing to a different crowd.
Oh, sure, yeah. I always thought it was crazy that Hot Topic was selling all the clothes that I used to wear in high school and got made fun of. Got made fun of for wearing. They were selling all these like comic book shirts and like video game shirts and Star Wars shirts. I was like, man, I got so much shit for wearing those shirts when I was in high school in the 90s, and now they're cool. Oh well.
Yeah, I'd say Urban Outfitters, maybe they're a little more fashionable in the sense that they kind of sort of like on the cusp of whatever's happening with fashion, but ultimately you're still just buying into the trendiness of what everyone else is doing. If you shop.
I mean, I feel like isn't it like a pricier version of like Old Navy or Gap or any of that shit, pretty much?
At this point, it's just another one of those places.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This isn't a fashion domain, so we don't, we don't talk about that, but yeah.
That's my perception of it. Like,
yeah. No,
if you go there and you buy something on sale, it's because it's no longer cool to wear.
Yeah.
So if it's on sale, then you don't actually want to have it.
Yeah. They're definitely not going to sponsor us now.
God damn it.
Yeah. Maybe stop following my Twitter now. The Urban Outfitters. I don't know if they do. They probably don't. But, yeah, Urban Outfitters. I don't even remember where we were getting at from this. Oh yeah, it was the NES Classic.
Well, they sell the NES Classic, which doesn't at all surprise me because it's trendy.
Oh,
I mean, sure. It's a very mainstream thing, and it's the NES Classic and Hatchimals. Those are the two hot items.
Oh no, that's what I wanted to talk about because since I've been like walking around looking for like I've been driving around looking at different places for NES classics, but I've also been looking for like 3DSs and Wii U's, and I've noticed that Wii U's have like been disappearing as well. And I saw a couple Wii U's on Amazon selling for like $500, so that seems to be like after Black Friday, all I saw was like the $199 versions of the 3DS around, but now I haven't seen any versions of the 3DS around anywhere. Like those have been completely gone. 3DSs have completely
No, I agree.
disappeared.
I've noticed I was at Walmart the other day, and they had no 3DSs, any 3DSs.
Well, check the Wii U's too, because I was at Target and Best Buy, and the past couple of days, and the Wii U's are gone too. Like people are maybe buying those up because they hear that they're stopped producing them and all that. Maybe they're trying to keep them because they might be valuable later. I don't know.
Or you can get all the games that are on the NES Classic on them.
Well, that too, yeah. It's a lot more expensive, but you can. I don't think you can get like Final Fantasy, but yeah, you can get most of them. But
you can if you open up the Wii virtual console.
Well, yeah, you can get it through the Wii. But yeah, I've seen those disappearing too. And I saw I was just looking online randomly, and I saw them selling for like a lot. I'm like, are those becoming hard to find as well? Like, are people just buying them up because they found out that there's not going to be very many more of them? I don't know.
I think
I noticed that
Nintendo's like coming back to the forefront of pop culture, and that's good in a lot of regards, but it's going to be annoying because I bet my boots that it's going to be really hard to get a hold of a Switch. Like as soon as that becomes available for pre-order, pre-order it.
It's going to be, I hope, well, they already said they're not going to release that many, which sucks because I would like to get one first day. I mean, we both would like to get one so we could talk about the show and all that, and I realized today that's not that far away. Like it's almost like less than a month away before the reveal, and then you got like a couple more months. March is not that far away from now, I guess. We're in the middle.
When did they
pretty much in the middle of December?
Switch? Was that in October?
Yeah.
So yeah, not that much further in the past than in the future when it actually comes out from now.
Yeah.
Like we're almost to that midpoint of okay, well now we got to start like getting together all of our riot gear to head to the stores and fucking push our way to the front and yank tickets out of kids' hands so we can get a hold of it.
Yeah, we got to bum rush the Toys R Us line. Yeah, we won't even be over the NES Classic by then. It'll be like we're still reeling and all of that crap. Hopefully not. I don't know. But let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and talk about our topic of the week, the year in review. Don't go anywhere. Alright, so like I said before, since Super Mario Run was delayed till next week, I figured that, I guess it's close enough to the end of the year where we can do our year in review show, which we did one last year. and we'll do one again. We'll talk about our personal favorite games, like what we think were the best games from like 3DS, Wii U, and we can say mobile now because they're two sort of Nintendo, well, one Nintendo and one Niantic or whatever mobile games that came out. But yeah, we could talk about that stuff. So, and also I wanted to talk about like what our favorite game of the year was that we played that maybe didn't come out this year. Like I asked my girlfriend last year, like what her favorite game was of that year, and she's like, A Link Between Worlds. I'm like, well, it didn't come out that year. And she's like, well, but I played it that year, so that's my favorite game of the year. So I thought that'd be a cool thing to talk about on here. So we'll do both. We'll be favorite game that actually came out this year and favorite game just in general that you played this year. So do you want to start? What would you say? I guess, or we could just talk about the year and review, I guess, in total. I mean, Nintendo kind of dropped the ball on Wii U for sure, you know?
Oh, big time. And I mean, that's what's hilarious about this whole thing because like we are potentially looking at a fever pitch of people wanting Nintendo stuff. Yeah, like happening all over again. Like it's like the Wii all over again. And the sense of what's going to happen with the Switch, I think, and we're already seeing it with the NES Classic. But in reality, those of us that are the Nintendo fans that have had all the devices, like, we've had a pretty boring year, really. I mean, that's pretty fair to say, right? You know, there's been some highlights for sure, but it's not like we've been bum rushed with this amazing content like all year long.
Well, 3DS has been pretty steady. And for someone like me who loves RPGs, I've had a lot of very good games came out this year for me, I think. I mean, you have like Pokemon Sun and Moon and like Dragon Quest VII and like Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I mean, those are all like, well, even like, you know, Paper Mario Color Splash, you could say to a point, you know.
And the Fire Emblem games.
And Fire Emblem Fates came out also. You know, there's just a lot of adventure type games that came out. And I'm sure there's Monster Hunter Generations came out, which I still have barely even cracked. I have it, but I haven't really played it that much. Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, another turn-based RPG came out this year.
Yep. And so Color Splash.
I said Color Splash. But I mean, I'm just saying it's been a hefty year for RPGs, which is great because I love those games. Been good for me, I guess, for that. I mean, yeah.
So I guess in a sense, like, the year the RPG started with Xenoblade Chronicles X, which came out last December.
What came out at the end of last year. But yeah, they had a solid RPG then, and then you had Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which I played a little bit of, but I'm still trying to beat Dream Team. But yeah, I mean, it seemed pretty good for those type of games.
And let's not forget the NES Classic itself.
And the NES Classic came out too, yeah. Which that was their big highlight, I guess, and their big thing that you can't find anywhere. And yeah, but there's an RPG on that too. Yeah, Pokemon Go Plus. Well, Pokemon Go came out. That was a huge thing. I mean, that's not directly Nintendo, but I'm sure they got a percentage of it.
It's really hard to get all of.
The bracelet is though. They made that. And Miitomo. There's a game that came out also, which I don't play anymore.
Which they actually updated. They put a huge update on it recently. I don't even think we ever talked about it on the podcast, but they made a really big update to it.
Yeah, you can kind of decorate your house now, sort of.
Yeah.
Right? Or your room.
Well, I mean, you can do a lot. You can put your own photos on the wall and the floor and the ceiling if you want.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have not even got into Miitomo since the month after it came out, I guess. Because I played it like every day for a month.
And they added the candy game where candy actually makes sense. To have it, you can use candy to get more tickets to play for the other drops.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I had so much candy.
Yeah, you can use your candy to win tickets for the other games.
I was just kind of waiting to delete it for Super Mario Run. Because it takes like 1.5 gigs, and my phone doesn't have very much space left. Because I have like 40 gigs worth of music on there for whatever dumb reason.
Just use an SD card to increase your memory. Oh wait, you can't do that with Apple devices.
Yeah, I can't do that. But yeah, so I'm just kind of waiting. I was kind of waiting on Super Mario Run to see how big that is, and drop Miitomo if I have to. But it's like I don't really do anything with it. But it's like it sends me like alerts all the time that there's new clothes out and stuff to wear.
Well, you can continue to earn platinum coins, which you'll never use.
But yeah, it started Nintendo's foray into mobile games this year, so that's a big thing. There's also like the big disappointment of Star Fox, I guess, which as our show, we did like 3 Star Fox episodes. We did in anticipation and about Star Fox. You know, we did a lot of coverage of it. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite what it was. I had fun with it for what it was. I never really went back and found all the different pathways, but I did beat the game.
You actually beat it though, right?
Yeah, I did beat the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't actually beat it.
Yeah, I beat the game, but I didn't go. I went back and tried to play it, but I couldn't really. Yeah, I found a couple pathways, but some of the I don't know. I had troubles with some of the side pathways. Like one of them, like the one I kept going to, I couldn't beat because it was too hard. I don't know. But Guard was cool. That was a nice little package that they put on there. And I thought that Pokken Tournament was a really solid fighter. Like I had a lot of fun with that, like while I played it. And I actually dominated online with it for a minute when it came out when nobody knew how to play. But so I had fun with that. But I think I was gonna say, like, if I had to pick, I think like my top two for Wii U was probably Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Pokken Tournament. Cause Tokyo Mirage Sessions is just that weird Japanese RPG game that I just want. You know, those are the type of games I want to see. Like, that's like what I'm excited about for Switch, is like, I want to see those weird games, like the games like Xenoblade and like Tokyo Mirage Sessions that are different than everything else, and, you know, are kind of the types of games that I want to play. So that's what I was really excited about.
Well, I know it was a remake.
Probably my favorites of this, well, my favorite, hands down, was Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but Pokken Tournament has like a close second, I think, for me. For Wii U, for the Wii U side. What are you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, I don't think you mentioned that the Twilight Princess that came out this year. Yeah, it's a remake.
It did, yeah, the Twilight Princess.
But it's got that amiibo with it, and there's a whole, like, story, which I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast before, maybe we have, but there was a kid who bought it, and his brother was terminally ill, and they played it together, and his brother passed away, but his brother's gonna live on through the Wolf amiibo.
Oh wow, no, I didn't know about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so his brother's gonna live on through the Wolf amiibo when he plays Breath of the Wild.
Oh, cause he did all the extra dungeons, right? That you put on there? Yeah,
so Nintendo kinda like, if you look this up online, you'll find where Nintendo actually, like, you know, and it was good for their PR that they heard the story and they, like, you know, they promised this kid, like, he's gonna get a Switch and he's gonna get
Breath of the Wild.
And, you know, and his brother's gonna live on through the Wolf amiibo in the game.
So they pretty much confirmed amiibo support.
Well, we knew that the Wolf amiibo was gonna be a playable, or it was gonna be a companion character.
Yeah. For the Wii U version.
Yeah. I guess, for the Wii version. So I guess I don't know for sure it was the Switch version. It may not be the Switch version. Maybe he was promised.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if it wasn't. I mean, there's obviously going to be amiibo support. Amiibo were in Karen's apartment when she played the Switch. So I'm not saying, I mean, they haven't directly said that they work with it, but I'm sure they do.
But I thought another thing worth mentioning was
that's cool. That's very cool.
The Minecraft story mode that came to Wii U this year. Just kind of like falling into the whole line of like
Telltale,
yeah. Right, Minecraft getting released late last year, which was kind of a surprise. I thought it was kind of from left field.
Oh yeah,
we'd never expected. Like even Notch himself, the creator of Minecraft, at one point
said it would never be on a Nintendo.
This will never be on a Nintendo console. Which of course they bought it from him. He's not part of it anymore. And Microsoft owns the property.
Yeah,
Xbox is a direct competitor to Nintendo, but they still release it because they knew they could sell more copies. And they're right. And I've played it on the Wii U. I like it. It's cool. I'm a Minecraft fan, so I like it. But yeah, I'm gonna say my favorite game that came out for the Wii U this year was Color Splash.
Yeah, well, you said that, like, in the Color Splash episode. You said that it was your favorite game of the year.
And I stand by that. It's not a great game. It's a flawed game. Ultimately, the final boss was extremely disappointing. The way that I was able to beat him was just to exploit the system.
Yeah.
And use all that extra money I had that I could get through playing the Rochambeau temples over and over again.
Yeah, sure.
But needless to say, I exploited the rules.
Well, that's how, I mean, it's there. You can exploit it. That's how I
feel. Right.
It's not a system. Good for you, you know?
System. But, that's definitely my favorite game of the year, not because it blew me away in any certain sense. Yes, visually it did.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
Especially the first couple of days I played it. Like, I could not get over how amazing all the stuff looked. And as I got further into the game, you know, they threw little curveballs at me with the Super Mario 3 level especially. That was so cool. And all the, like, the little jokes and stuff that were made, like all the little, the writing was done really well. So I'm going to say Color Splash was my favorite Wii U game. Because I played all the way through it, it engaged me, and I sucked my teeth into it, and, you know, yeah, that was my favorite. And it disappointed me, but not to the point where I didn't want to play it anymore. It disappointed me, but I still had that drive to, like, see what would happen next. I wanted to see it through to the end. And I was happy when I did.
Yeah.
So that was my favorite Wii U game. My favorite 3DS game was...
Do you want to get into? Well, yeah, we already were talking about the Wii U. So like the 3DS was a whole nother side of things. I think the year was strong for 3DS, but 3DS has been strong, you know. But I guess it's kind of, it's, you know, people think that are wondering what's going to happen to that next year. Of course, you know, with the looming Switch on the horizon and Switch being a portable of sorts. Like, is that the end of the 3DS? They haven't really announced anything much past March, so
it's a third pillar, man. It's a third pillar.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like how the DS was the third pillar. and we still play our Game Boy Advances, right? No.
Still.
Well, we do, but I mean, like, yeah, what's your 3DS game of the year? Super Mario Maker?
Yep.
Really?
Well played, man. Yeah, I love it. I've been playing it a lot. It's a lot of fun. I will tell you though, like, there's not, you know, I've made a few levels in the creation mode, and that should be the main draw of the game because it's Mario Maker. It's in the title.
Yeah.
But it is really disappointing. Like, I'll make a level and I'm like, this is so cool. I want someone to play it.
Yeah.
It's me. And the only way for that to happen is for me to like hand someone my 3DS and be like, play this level.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Know? And it's like, you know, if I like carried around a sketch pad and I drew pictures, I'm like, hey, check out this picture I drew.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Like, look at my sketch pad. You know, it feels the same way. Like, it's different than sharing it and having that trade going on where like, you know, well, you know, of course I want you to play my level that I put all this time into. But in exchange, I'm going to play this level you put all this time into. Yeah. You know, like it's a give and take, whereas, like I said, it's like if I was walking around with a sketch pad, I'm like, look at these pictures I drew. And that's kind of how I feel about this so far. And, there are cheats that you can mess around with, which I haven't yet, but I have a Raspberry Pi, and apparently you can make a swap pass or whatever the fuck they call it. You can make your own like stop with that.
Oh, okay.
Where like I could in effect figure out a way to like find other people that were doing the same thing through the internet, and I haven't dug too deep into that, but there is a way around it.
Or you could take your...
where you can exchange levels. But there's not a big enough install base right now with all those factors considered. So for now, I'm just really happy with, and I did say at the top of the show that I would talk a little bit about my experience with the game. Mostly it's just with the challenge mode. And I love the challenge mode. It's fun.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the good part about it.
What's great about the challenge mode and what I love about it is that it gives you objectives to complete. You don't have to complete the objectives, and you can still beat the level and move on to the next thing, but they're different for every level, and it's just like, you know, get through the level without ever getting hit, or like collect all these coins, or do this, that.
Or like kill all the Goombas or something.
Right. Yeah, there was one that was like, that I thought was pretty cool. It was like, kill all the piranha plants, but don't kill anything else.
Yeah.
Well, they were Goombas walking around with piranha plants on their heads.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you had firepower, so you had to be careful with your firepower where you only hit the plant, but you don't accidentally hit the Goomba. You hit one Goomba, you ruin it. Like, you ruin your whole thing. So, I love that, and I love that those are sort of objectives, and I wish that they would carry those over to the Wii U version. And I don't think they have. There's nothing like that in the Wii U version where you could create a level and be like, you know, you can beat the level, but also here are these objectives to actually beat it. And then there's also like objectives where you have to defeat the first one to unlock the second objective. So like you have to play through the level multiple times. You can't beat it all at once. And I love that. And I think that's a really cool concept. And I wish that they would carry that over to the Wii U version.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm not really giving a whole lot of like specific examples here, but my favorite example was the one with the Goombas with the piranha plants on it, because it's so easy to let your fireballs fly and just kill everything. But in this case, for the first time in any time in a 2D Mario game where I had firepower, I was actually like aiming my fireball shots. You know? Like I was actually like taking time to get close to the Goomba, jump up and like shoot the fireball at the right second or the right split second to not hit both of them.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I think that's a really great way to take the mechanics that already exist. And, you know, you're not just collecting special Yoshi coins. You're actually, like, within the context of a level, trying to complete it whilst doing something else.
Yeah, and you need those medals to like unlock that final level. From what I heard, it's like 17 levels, and there's an 18th one or something like that. Because there's a lot of stuff on there, but that's basically they put that on there to make it as
to extend the life of it.
Basically, because you couldn't do the internet sharing, they're like, oh well, we'll add all this stuff on there to give you something to do with it. But the levels are cool. They're like, are they good? Like, are they worth playing?
Fine.
Or are they too short? I don't know. What do they feel like?
A lot of them are rehashes of what I played on. Like, you'll play, like, 1-1 is literally 1-1.
Yeah.
First Mario. Like, you're playing through a lot of levels that you've experienced before. And then I went into and I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but I did go into, like, the levels you can download from the Mario Maker world or whatever they call it now. But you can go in and there are select levels from the Wii U version that people have made that you can play.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cool, fun ones, but I'm really, like, you can't search, and all you can really do is just reload. You can hit the reload button to like, create, like, a new list of levels you can play. But you can't search for them. You can't search for them by type, difficulty level, and all that, like they added later. So it's a very truncated version of the Wii U game, and I know that, and I'm self-aware of that the entire time I'm playing it. So it's a little disappointing, but I will also say it looks fantastic, and it's fun to be able to create levels, and I just wish I could share. And that's, the whole time I'm playing it, I'm just like, I wish, while I'm doing this, that I could share that with a friend. Yeah. So, like, even if you got the game, we would still have to be in the room together to share levels. Like, I can't just send them to you through Miiverse or something. Yeah. And it would be great if you could just send it through your friends. Like, even if you had to have the friend codes and all that, like, it'd be great if you could share levels that way. So
sure.
And needless to say, it's still my favorite 3DS game of the year, just because I'm a hardcore 2D Mario fan.
Sure.
And it's the newest 2D Mario game, and it's fantastic in its own rights. The omissions based on the game that it's a port of are glaring, and they're staring me in the face the entire time I play it. And I wish they would update it and add more things, but we know Nintendo, they're not going to. I mean, they could surprise us like they did with Animal Crossing, for sure. But at this point, it's like, why wouldn't they have had those features available from the get-go if they weren't going to be available? Yeah. If they were going to be available eventually, Nintendo's not a fan of releasing an incomplete game. Like, they're not into releasing incomplete games. They're not EA or whatever. So I don't see that ever being a thing. I don't see it ever being like, you can share levels through the internet, which sucks because it's 2016 and, you know, the DS that came out in 2004, 12 years ago, almost 13 years ago at this point, had internet connections. Like, you could get online with it. So, like, why can't I do that? I don't know why I can't do that.
No. But what you could do is you could take your 3DS and you can take it to GameStops. Like, I always get Street Passes at GameStops because people have 3DSs there. You could take your 3DS to McDonald's whenever they have those Street Pass weekends where you can, like, if you go to a Street Pass place, you'll Street Pass all these people from different countries. So you can do that. And if you go to the Retro Gaming Classic thing in Milwaukee, which you should, you could bring your 3DS there and you'll Street Pass all the people there who have Super Mario Maker. So there's other ways to do it, I guess. You just gotta kinda hang around places where people have 3DS. But GameStop is always a pretty easy way to get Street Passes. I've done it before. I bring it with me pretty much every time I go to GameStop so I can get Street Passes. So there's always that.
We had 3 GameStops here. Now we're down to 2.
No.
And the one I always went to is the one that closed, unfortunately.
Yeah. But they do have those Street Pass weekends, which I've never done. But if you go to McDonald's or something, it'll basically Street Pass you with like everybody else who's at a McDonald's like across the world. So it'll help you get Street Passes from people that aren't next to you, and you can expand your horizons and all that. That's what it's supposed to be. Nintendo like sends emails about them and all that, but I've never actually gone to them. There's that option. But yeah, it still sucks that you can't just do online stuff like you should with the other game, you know. It sucks that it had to get downgraded. But I understand. I mean, I hear that the first single player stuff is really fun. So there's that, I guess.
I mean, I understand. So like, yeah, going back to it, I understand that it couldn't be interchangeable between the Wii U version and the 3DS version. Like, you can't create a level on the Wii U and then play it on the 3DS, you know. They don't have the same processing power, blah, blah, blah. Like, obviously you can't do as much with 3DS as you can with the Wii U, and that's why they've limited the levels you can download that are user created, because they won't work within the confines of the 3DS. But I would love it if there was a unique internet community for the 3DS version. And maybe even some way of like porting the Wii U version over, and then it would tell you like, you know, within the Wii U game, like make this available on the 3DS, and then it'll say, well, you have to change these elements for it to be able to be playable. So that you could actually manually go in and alter the level if you need to make it playable on the 3DS. Like, that'd be great. But instead they just took it away completely. They didn't even make it an option. And that's really disappointing because it feels like a rushed port that is just trying to like squeeze a little bit more money out of the franchise. Same as like whatever's going to happen with this Poochie and Yoshi version that's going to come out. Like, supposedly it has all the levels in it from Yoshi's Woolly World, but they're going to be, in some way, they're going to be compressed, and they're not going to be as visually exciting because it's an inferior computer that it's running on.
Yeah, they'll have all the levels on there, but it won't look as nice, and it probably won't look as tangible as like the Willy Yoshi did. But, you know, that game was good, so this might as, I mean, you could play it on 3DS, I guess, if you want to get that version whenever that comes out. But I was trying to figure out what my favorite 3DS game of the year would be. I mean, I wanted to say Dragon Quest VII because that's probably the game I played the most of the 3DS this year. Even though there have been a lot of really, really good games. I didn't say this earlier in the show because I wanted to talk about it now. But I just started playing Kirby Robobot, Planet Robobot this week, and that game's like really, really good. Like I've been having a ton of fun with it. The robot is super cool, and like there's different power-ups that turn the robot into different things. So like you get turned into like a car at one point, or you get turned into like a plane. Like it's really cool, like how they've like varied the levels to where it's a lot of fun to play, and I've been having a blast with that. So, I mean, that one's definitely a worthy nomination for me, I guess. But I think I have to go with Pokemon, of course, because that one's, they altered so much stuff on it, and they changed enough to make it really cool. And though I haven't played it as much as I've played Dragon Quest VII or Planet Robobot, I think it's probably the better game of the year from the 3DS for me.
And it's a unique IP. I mean, it's built from the ground up. It's something you've never seen before.
Well, it's Pokemon, and they took out all the HMs, they've actually did a lot to change things, and they altered some of the Pokemon to where they are different because of the region and all that. And I've put 10 hours into it, and enjoyed and had a lot of fun with it so far. So that's what I would say for what I think is the best of 3DS for the year.
I'm actually considering getting that from a lot of the stuff I've read about it. A lot of people even people that have beat it are saying that, you know, it was one of their favorite games they've played in a long time. Some people are saying it's their favorite Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because there's a lot of Pokemon games.
It's true, yeah. Well, I guess you would say your favorite one is always the last one that came out, right?
Maybe. I mean, yeah, whatever game, I mean, I feel like it's fair to say, just like I said about Color Splash, a game that can engage you to actually finish it and where you want to complete the game and where you don't give up on it because you're
because of whatever reason, yeah.
They want to follow through with it. So if a lot of people are completing the Sun and Moon in spite of whatever its shortcomings may be, that's still a mark of a good game that it keeps you going until you're done with it.
So that would, by that rationale, that would make Star Fox my favorite game of the Wii U for this year, since that's the only game that I've actually finished out of all of them.
Oh God. Yeah, I haven't completed a Wii U game this year other than Color Splash myself.
Well, I did finish Pokken Tournament, but that's a fighting game. I don't know if that counts. You can play through it in one setting practically, but I don't know. Yeah, but the other games that I like are longer games. Like I put 30 hours into Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and I'm still only maybe in the third chapter. So it's just the nature of that game. So you can't really say that I haven't put enough into it, or that I still come back.
Time, yeah,
I still come back to it. So I think that's a warrant for why it's my favorite of the year. But what about games that you played that didn't necessarily come out this year that you was your favorite game to play of this year? Like just overall game of 2016 for you. Could be from any time. Could have come out at any time. But one that you probably played the most or had the most fun with this year. What do you think for you?
I mean, it's kind of lame to say, but the NES Classic, I've just had a great time playing all these classic games in HD, right?
That's not a game though. You have to say one game.
Zelda 2.
Yeah. But do you really like that game? I figured you just played it out of self-torture or some sort of sadistic, I don't know.
I guess I'll say Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh yeah, you did play that game.
I played all the way through Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube, and I beat it. I didn't beat it with all the stars, but I did pretty well. I'm in the 80s. And it's been a lot of fun. And using the GameCube controller has been a treat because that's a very nice controller. I love the controller.
Unique controller, yeah.
It's very comfortable. It doesn't make my hands hurt when I'm done with it, like a lot of other controllers do. And yeah, I put a lot of time into Super Mario Sunshine. I would say probably that's the game I played the most this year. That and Tales of Symphonia on the Wii.
Oh, yeah.
Were the ones I played the most this year that are obviously not from this year.
Well, and games you had the most fun with, sure.
Yeah, I absolutely had the most fun with Mario's Sunshine. Like going back to it, just going on a nostalgia trip with it. And, after all these years of like not knowing what happened to my copy of it and finally just buckling down and spending, I think I spent like $27 to get a hold of the disc for it. And it's just the disc. It didn't have any of the shit with it, but I ended up finding most of my packaging for my old copy. And so I've got a mostly complete version of it other than the actual case. But I've got like the instruction booklet and everything. Sure. And yeah, I played all the way through it and I had a great time with it and I still boot it up once in a while and play it just because it looks great. Like, I mean, it blows my mind that it came out in 2002 because some of the stuff in it looks better than Mario Galaxy in the sense of like how reflections and stuff work. Like you don't get the kind of reflections in Mario Galaxy that you do in Sunshine. Like they paid so much attention to reflections in that game.
Oh yeah, with the water and all that.
Like, and anything reflective, like you're getting a full reflection of yourself in it. And that's just like a tiny little thing that's not that important, and like almost sounds like a kind of like, yeah man, this game has the best reflections, man. But like, for real, like that's cool and it keeps you like within the context of the world that, it's this really bright, shiny game, literally called Sunshine. And, because of all the light everywhere, you're going to see reflections and shadows and stuff. It blows my mind, it's almost a 15-year-old game at this point, and it has really, really nice graphics and the self-shadows, like Mario casting shadows on himself and everything. Like, the graphics are great.
Yeah.
So, it's really fun to see that on a system that at this point is nearly 4 generations ago.
Yeah, I mean, I like that he, like when he gets in the water, like, and he gets out, he actually drips water, like where he walks. Like, I always thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Like that, just like the attention to detail. How you can like water slide on stuff with water, but you can create that too. Like you can shoot it with the backpack and then create your own like water slide. Like little stuff that you can do like with that I always thought was cool. And like how it kind of like, it's like magnetizes you to the bungee jumping, stuff. That helps too. I figured like some of the platforming worked a little bit better on it for the most part. Some stuff didn't, but yeah, that was a fun game. I mean, I haven't played it since I don't know when, but
because Galaxy, Galaxy being like the next thing to come out as far as like a Mario platformer after that felt more like it had like a streamlined thing going on with it where like the camera angles and everything were like specifically geared to make it look the best that it could, but you weren't seeing that like same level of detail as far as like the subtle things of the shadows, the reflections, all those things. And so like playing them one next to each other and having that available to me, because I have all those games. Going back to Galaxy, or rather going back to Sunshine, I was very impressed by how well, in spite of it being like kind of a mixed reception kind of a game, even at the time it was released, it was definitely utilizing the hardware in a very awesome way and, in a way that was so good and so specific to the GameCube that they haven't been able to re-release it because they haven't had a proper interface since then.
They don't have the proper controller, but
exactly.
Hopefully they do now. We'll see.
Let's hope that there's an HD re-release of it and it's got all the same whistles and bells.
For sure. Well, I told you that you couldn't use the NES Classic, but my answer was like kind of like that, so I'll have to change it. No, my answer was like my favorite game of the year that I played that didn't come out this year was the Dragon Quest series. That was my answer for it. I mean, that's just as bad as saying the NES Classic, I guess, because I played through the first 4 games, and I played through all of them, all 4 of them. I basically made a vow that I was going to play through all the Dragon Quest games. And I played through all of the first 4. I played through most of 9, and I played through a third of 7. So I think I got over halfway through. But to say any game, I'd have to say is the first one, to Dragon Warrior 1, because that was a game that I had when I was like 7 or 8 or whenever it came out, and a game that I didn't really understand, but I held on to for like almost 30 years, and like finally beat it like this year. I thought that was a really cool thing to do. And I realized it was a Dragon Quest, part of this like series that I'd never really played, but was like this, this crazy popular series in Japan. And, I was looking at like stuff for like Final Fantasy 15 and all that. And I'm like, man, I'm really glad that I switched boats here. I went from like trying to find a good Final Fantasy to just like playing all of these good Dragon Quests, which they have much more good games than Final Fantasy does, which I've said before, but it's a fact. So that was like my favorite thing of this year was playing those games. Especially like, I'd say, well, Dragon Warrior 1 or Dragon Warrior 3, because Dragon Warrior 3 is probably like the perfected version of the NES version of that, And now that I've started to get into like the class changing stuff in Dragon Quest 7, which is much different than 3, so it's like, I don't know. I was raised on the Dragon Quest 3 stuff, and then I skipped to 7 and missed whatever the changes were for like 5 and 6, so now it makes me want to go back and do those, but that'd be too much fun with 7. But yeah, playing those games was like probably the best choice I made in gaming this year.
Yeah.
And totally satisfied my RPG itch, so.
But let's be honest, like if they were to bring like 7 and 8 and all that to the Switch, because it had the install base and it justified it, I mean, I would be willing to like play through those games on a Nintendo console, even though they're old at this point, but like, I still agree with you.
You mean Final Fantasy, right?
Right, Final Fantasy.
Okay.
But
yeah, I was like, do you mean Dragon Quest 7 and 8?
No,
because 8 is coming out in January for 3DS.
I did mean Final Fantasy. But
yeah.
You're correct in the sense that like they've stuck to their formula and they haven't had quite the division.
Well, they have it's because they have Yuji Horii works on every single version of them, so they don't. Whereas like
Final Fantasy 11 is an online game. Yeah. Final Fantasy 14 is an online game.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy also has
couldn't even play. They couldn't port.
They have different developers in each one, is what I'm saying. Whereas like Yuji Horii is like the commanding force of all of, like they kept the same people on all the Dragon Quests. That's why they turned out better. Is what I think is that Yuji Horii was the director of all of them. So whereas like Final Fantasy has different teams for each game. So that's where you get different mix-ups and all that. That's why those are better. But yeah, no, if they put like 7 and 8 on there, I guess I'd try to play them again. I mean, I played through 7.
9 was awesome.
Yeah.
I liked 9.
Yeah, I played some of 9. I actually played more of 8 than I played of 9. Because I think by the time I got to 9, I was kind of tired of it. But no,
it's frustrating of them that I've played.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, a lot of them are frustrating to me, but no, I understand. 9 is good. 7 overall disappointed me because it didn't live up to the hype that everybody gave it so much. Like when I played through it, plus that's the dumbest ending ever. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, I'm glad that I switched over to Dragon Quest because those games have brought me more joy and less disappointment. So that was my favorite thing. Even though I'd like to maybe try out Final Fantasy 15, but it's like, I don't know. It looks
well. Then
it looks
I would
silly.
like to say for honorable mention. Then, since you even said it, I would like to say the NES Classic. Just in general, like,
oh sure,
it's been a wonderful thing to supplement my game library with because there were a lot of games on there that I had never downloaded on the Virtual Console, and they look way better than they would if I had downloaded them on the Virtual Console. So
sure,
and the interface is really like smooth, and everything looks so great, and it's so fast.
Yeah, for the most part.
Using that actual NES controller, and yes, the save state system is kind of a weird thing, but once you get used to it, it actually works really well. Yeah. So, I mean, honorable mention definitely the NES Classic. I've put at least 30 or 40 hours into games on that since I bought it.
Sure. And I hope that it shows like what direction Nintendo's going to go with the Virtual Console for Switch. Hopefully they go a similar route, or they do some sort of like, I don't know, some sort of subscription thing where you get a bunch at once. I don't know.
I would love it, and I'm speculating, and I haven't seen anything really online about it yet, but I'm sure someone speculated this at some point. But like, how amazing would it be if you could actually, because it has a USB port on it, a micro USB port, if you could actually upload your NES Classic to your Switch. And it would give you those 30 games. It wouldn't necessarily upload it, but it would be like a verification that you owned the NES Classic.
Oh, sure.
And if they could those games on it.
They could transfer your saves too. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that'd be cool. I mean, that'd be a cool way to do it. But how good they were emulated on that NES Classic shows like the future of what they're going to do with Virtual Console stuff, hopefully, and like what they did for the 3DS with the Super Nintendo Pixel Perfect stuff. Hopefully, that's part of like what's going to go into 2017 with what they're doing with that. So it's kind of a sign of the future. And yeah, if you could hook it up to it, that'd be totally cool. Be pretty rad.
Let's hope the NES Classic and the Switch interface somehow. That's a pipe dream, but it'd be great if they did.
Yeah, nobody really talks about that, but it would be cool if it did, because NES Classic seems like such a novelty thing that would just be like a side thing. You know, there's not even its own console, even though it kind of is, whatever. But yeah, that would be cool. I mean, if they were able to do that. Even though when you were talking about how well it worked, I remembered I actually have had some issues with my NES Classic lately. Like it's shut off on me a couple times, even though the automatic shut off is not switched on. And there was actually, for a while there, I couldn't turn it on. I thought it was broken. And I had to like let it cool down or whatever, and then it.
Are you using the proprietary plugs that come with it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because you told me you were just using whatever micro USBs you had to plug it in.
Yeah, I mean, I probably don't know which one is the one that came with it, but it's I've been using micro USBs for it.
I mean,
I don't know
the
if
power
I used
brick.
The one.
The power brick that you use with it could affect it.
Oh, okay. Maybe. But yeah, there was one time where it shut itself off, and that's where I had to, that's another time where I had to do that thing where I had to like start the game over again and just load the saves that were on the game, you know, instead of the save state, cause I was unable to do the save state, but I'd already saved at a hotel, so I went back and, you know, dealt with all the time resetting and all that. But yeah, it's cool. It's a cool thing. I'm glad
I've made sure to continue to use the power brick that came with it, same cable, so I think that might be part of it, but maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, it's been kind of a lackluster year, but NES Classic was a nice surprise at the end, and I'm still hoping for that Super Nintendo thing. Hoping for an SNES Classic, as we all are. And I'm hoping for a Game Boy Classic too. That'd be really cool. Like a smaller brick version that's backlit that has 30 Game Boy games on it would be awesome.
Well, how fucking cool, man. Like, this is our second year in review we've done.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've got that perspective. We can look at our previous episode and this episode and be like, man, next year we're going to be doing another year in review of 2017. And I really think
that'll be an intense year.
It's going to be crazy. I think we're going to be seeing Wii Part 2, the original Wii 2. And I'm kind of scared and I'm kind of frustrated in advance, but I'm also really excited because, you know, if there's going to be like this feverish install base, then we're going to get a lot of software out of it.
And hopefully we'll get more listeners too, because we kind of started our show when nobody cared about Nintendo. So I'm sure it'll help the show as well.
Hell yeah. Listen to our old episodes if you're listening to this old episode.
Yeah, for sure.
2017.
Yeah. Anyway, I think, we've been talking for like almost 2 hours, so I think we can put a pin in it here, but it seems like a solid episode to me of our year in review of 2016. We'll be back next week, hopefully, to talk about Super Mario Run and some other stuff, and all, as we normally do. And we've been your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
Jeremy McCaskey.
And, you know where to find us. We're on, NintenDomain. That's a Twitter at NintenDomain. NintenDomain.podcast@gmail.com, Facebook /NintenDomain or YouTube /Fingmater. You can find all of our stuff there. NintenDomainPodcast.com, blah, blah, blah. You know all that stuff. We'll see you next week.
See you next week for episode 50.
そう思うたび素直になれないかっこいいと言われるたび No way, no way 悲しかった誰だってそうよ私もそう私と違うあなたが眩しい君もっとキュートに君もっとクールに君もっと違う輝きが欲しくなる君まっすぐさぼ君好きよさま君私にない輝きが欲しくなる今すぐに Please give it to me Please give it to me Please give it to meなりたいと思うたび素直になれないかっこいいと言われるたび No way, no way 悲しかった誰だってそうよ私もそう私と違うあなたが眩しい君もっとキュートに君もっとクールに 欲しくなる Give me まっすぐさぼ Give